Let's talk about Arceus and the other missing mythicals in Pokemon GO's Sinnoh Tour, because I've got an idea about how they're going to show up and some evidence to back it up. I will break down all of the details about the global and in-person events, but first I think we need to address the disappointment that some are feeling about this announcement for the Sinnoh Tour. Generally, people are disappointed by the announcement of what seems to be another lackluster event with crummy bonuses, little rewards, and some missing mythicals, including Arceus. I think both of these are related to the fact that Niantic has yet to release any information about the tour that we didn't already know other than a date and time. We all knew that Dialga and Palkia were coming back, and thanks to Pokeminers, we knew that they were getting their legacy moves. We obviously knew it was going to be featuring Sinnoh spawns, and we could even deduce from the Hoenn Tour that the regionals would be locked in 10-kilometer eggs. That means there is definitely more information coming in the next few months about special research, how your badge choice will affect bonuses, and the three so far missing mythicals. I think Manaphy and Phione will be released in either special or timed research that comes out for the tour, or maybe an event before the tour, but I think most likely for the Sinnoh Tour. It is possible that they could be in raids during those habitats where Palkia and Dialga are not. However, because they're mythical, I think research is more likely. Some mythicals like Darkrai can be found in 5-star raids. I don't think that's what they're going to do with Manaphy and Phione. It is possible that the mysterious Rocket research relates to Manaphy and Phione. If you notice on the website, it says that Team Rocket is asking for our help rather than challenging us. Usually for Rocket research, it's some kind of challenge that they issue. This time, they're asking for help, so it has to be something big. So I think either Manaphy and Phione, or potentially even Arceus. Speaking of Arceus, because of its special place, there is of course the potential that they want to give it its own big event, or that they don't even release it at all during the Sinnoh Tour and save it for some time later. However, I don't think they're going to do any of those things. I think they're going to want to release it during the tour, and I also think that they don't want to break the streak of releasing all the Pokemon from a particular generation at one time during the tour. I think there's a very good chance that the God Pokemon will be released in either special or timed research, likely ticketed during the Sinnoh Tour. Niantic has clearly been implementing new revenue streams and trying to make up for lost income from the remote raid nerf, so I think it's very likely that Arceus will be a pay-to-get on first release Pokemon. In fact, I would honestly be surprised if this wasn't the case. If you think about Jirachi and Shiny Jirachi, those were pay-to-get Pokemon. I'm almost 100% certain that to be one of the first to get Arceus, we are going to have to pay for a ticket to some kind of research. I really don't think Niantic is going to miss out on the chance to monetize this Pokemon, the god of all Pokemon, the deity, the creator of it all. I really don't think there's a way they're not going to monetize it. This would also keep Arceus more rare, which is what I'm sure Niantic wants, and especially the Pokemon Company wants. But as the dates for the Sinnoh Tour events draw closer, we will definitely be getting more information, and I do believe that will include information about how they plan to monetize Arceus and how they plan to release Manaphy and Phione, hopefully not monetizing them as well. Now, in terms of bonuses, we are definitely going to get more announcement about bonuses, especially the ones that come with the badge choice. So hopefully that's where they're hiding most of the good stuff, because remember, we really don't know much about this event yet other than the stuff we already knew and the date and time. And now let's talk about the details for the global and in-person Sinnoh Tour events. There will be both an in-person LA event at the Rose Bowl Stadium and a global event for everyone else to participate in 1 week later. Because most of us will be playing the global event, let's talk about that one first. The global tour is happening on February 24th to 25th, 1 week after the LA event, and it runs from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time each day. There's no ticket required to play the global event. However, there is an optional ticketed masterwork research for Shiny Shaman. No price listed on the website, but probably around $5 USD. Masterwork research, if you aren't aware, is a research that often takes a while to complete and has some fairly difficult tasks in it. There will also be the chance to pick a badge, so either Diamond or Pearl for Sinnoh region, similar to past tours, and which badge you choose will affect bonuses, research, and rewards. Now, if you attend the in-person event, the badge choice you make there will carry over to the global event 1 week later. We do know the general bonuses that everyone will get during the global event, and they include half hatch distance, 6 special trades, and half Stardust cost for trades. Not a lot listed here, so hopefully the bonuses from the badges are pretty good. Moving on, let's talk about the raids during the global event. In 1-star raids, we're going to have Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, so the starters for Sinnoh, and they can all be shiny. In 3-star raids, we'll have Torterra, Infernape, and Empoleon, so the final evolved forms of each of the starters. And the 5-star raids are going to include Dialga and Palkia, both of which can be shiny, and both of which should have their legacy moves. Although it is possible that they make it so that we have to use some kind of item or employ some other mechanic to get that move, like they did with Rayquaza. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that that turns out. Also note that Dialga and Palkia will only be in raids during the Bustling Boardwalk and the Toxic Digs habitats, so not during the other two. Not sure what's going to happen with 5-star raids during those. It could be that some of our missing mythicals are in 5-star raids at that point. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on to the research, aside from that ticketed masterwork research for Shiny Shaman, we don't have a lot here. We know there's going to be a rocket research story. There is no mention of a ticket for that one, so that should be free for everybody. And other than that, we don't know what the field research is going to be. We don't know what any other timed or special research will be. So we'll have to wait for more information to be released in the coming months. Next up, let's talk about the wild spawns that are happening for each habitat during the global event. And because this is the Sinnoh Tour, every single one of them can be shiny. Looking at the first habitat, the Bustling Boardwalk, we can see that we'll get Pikachu wearing Lucas's hat, Pikachu wearing Dawn's hat, Magnemite, Porygon, Ralts, Piplup, Starly, Bidoof, Trash Cloak, Burmy, Dweezil, East Sea Shellos, West Sea Shellos, Drifloon, Glammeow, Finian, and more. Next up is the Ancient Grove habitat, where we will see Tangela, Eevee, Mischievous, Nosepass, Roselia, Turtwig, Kricketot, Plant Cloak Burmy, Combi, Cherubi, Bronzor, and more. After that, we'll have the Toxic Dig habitats, where we will see wild spawns for Pikachu wearing Lucas's hat, Pikachu wearing Dawn's hat, as well as Aipom, Yanma, Gligar, Duskull, Shinx, Pranidos, Shieldon, Sandy Cloak Burmy, Stunky, Gibble, Hippopotas, Scorpy, Krogunk, and more. And then the last of the 4 habitats, the Geothermal Lagoon, we will see Lickitung, Rhyhorn, Magmar, Eevee, Togetic, Murkrow, Swinub, Snorunt, Chimchar, Baneri, Snover, and more. You might notice that some of the spawns here are not Sinnoh Pokemon, but they are Pokemon that got new evolutions during the Sinnoh generation. That's why we see them spawning in these habitats. Aside from the wild spawn encounters, we are also going to be able to get special incense encounters, which I personally think is the best thing that they've announced so far about the Sinnoh Tour, and that is going to be the unknowns H, I, N, O, and S. They will be available to everybody off the incense, and they can be shiny. Note, this does not include daily adventure incense. They are not going to be the only spawns, but it will be one of the best ways to globally hunt shiny unknowns. So you might want to save up a bunch of incense for the tour. There's also going to be 2, 5, and 10 kilometer eggs for the event. Taking a look at the 2 kilometer eggs, we have the potential to hatch Badoo, Chingling, Bonsley, Mime Jr., Happiny, Munchlax, Riolu, and Mantike. I will note that for the 2 kilometer eggs, it doesn't say and more. Don't know if that was a mess up or if this is the full pool of what will be available from the 2 kilometer eggs. Next up in the 5 kilometer eggs, it only lists Stunky and Gibble, but it does say and more, so that is not a full pool list, so we'll have to wait and see if anything else is good in those 5 kilometer eggs. And then in the 10 kilometer eggs, we are going to again have the regionals, so that's Pachirisu, Chatot, and Carnivine available from 10 kilometer eggs. And that is the only way to get them during this event. They are generally region-locked Pokemon, and just like last year for the Hoenn Tour, they're putting the regionals in 10 kilometer eggs, which is a little bit unfortunate for those who can't travel and those who can't really afford a lot of incubators, so they're still trying to keep them pretty rare. That's all the information we have for the global tour so far, and frankly, it's not a lot. So really, to be able to judge how good this event is going to be, we're going to have to wait and see what the other details are. Now let's talk about the in-person event at the LA Rose Bowl. It's happening on February 17th and February 18th. It is a ticketed event. That ticket is going to be $30, but right now it has an early bird price of $25 on the Niantic website, and you can only buy a ticket for one day. In previous tours, you had to pick a morning or an afternoon time, but it looks like this ticket is for the whole day, so that runs from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once you pick your day, you also have to pick which venue you're going to be in. So the Rose Bowl is one option. There is also the CW Coiner course. Not sure on the pronunciation of that, but you have to pick which one you enter. I'm not sure if they're two connected ones and it's half of the habitats are in the stadium and half are in the golf course. Not entirely sure, but on the website it says you pick your entrance, so that makes it seem like they are connected. Not entirely sure though. There are also several add-on options. So the raid add-on or the egg hatching add-on, we'll talk about more in the bonuses because they have an effect on that. But then there is also the citywide experience add-ons you can get, and you can purchase that for both days at $20 USD each. So that just extends your experience to the entire city of LA. Let's talk about the bonuses for the in-person event now. And because there's a lot of similarities, let's just go over what is different. The in-person event have the same 3 bonuses as the global, plus you get up to 9 daily free raid passes from spinning photo discs at gyms, and an increased chance of encountering shiny Pokemon. Now there's also going to be those $15 add-ons that I mentioned before, the raid add-on and the hatching add-on, so let's take a look at those now. The Raid Lover add-on gets you up to 18 free raid passes by spinning photo discs at gyms, an additional 5,000 XP from completed raids, 6 additional candy for catching Pokemon in 5-star raids, and 3 additional candy XL for catching Pokemon in 5-star raids for trainers level 31 and above. Then we have the Eggthusiast add-on, which comes with the bonuses of a quarter egg hatch distance instead of the half, so they don't stack. You get 3 times hatch XP, 3 times hatch candy, candy, 3 times hatch Stardust, and an increased chance of 10-kilometer eggs from spinning Pokestops and photo discs at gyms. And what that basically means is you have an increased chance to get those regional Pokemon that are in the 10k eggs. In terms of raids, they seem to be exactly the same, except that there are no 3-star raids with those evolved forms of the starters. So we are getting the 1-star raids with Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, which can be shiny, as well as the 5-star raids, which will include Dialga and Palkia. However, for the in-person event, they will be available for the first 30 minutes of every hour of your ticketed event day, which means they'll be available for the first 30 minutes starting at 9 a.m. and going to 5 p.m. only on the day that you have a ticket for the in-person event, not for the citywide experience. Now, in terms of research, there will be that masterwork research for Shiny Shaman. Looks like that's included in the price of the ticket, so no additional cost there, which is nice. And according to the website, it will be easier than the global research as well. There will also be that Team Rocket research like we saw in the global announcement. Again, don't know what that's going to be, but they're asking for help rather than challenging, so it looks like it might be something interesting. We'll have to wait and see. There will also be event field research, however there's no details on what that will be. And there's also going to be a Spirit Tomb timed research, which involves spinning 10 of 108 possible special stops around LA. So you have to find 10 of those very particular 108 stops. One important thing to note about this timed research is that it starts on Friday, not Saturday, and you might want to do that in case those stops are spread far and wide across the city. One of the nice things about this research is that it's going to get you multiple encounters with Spirit Tomb, which is multiple shiny checks for Spirit Tomb, which is just getting to be more and more rare. So I would definitely take advantage of that if you're going to the in-person event. There will also be encounters from doing snapshots, and that will be with the starters for Sinnoh, and they'll be wearing either Lucas or Don's hat. Also, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf will be spawning in the wild, and taking a snapshot of them in the wild will get you a bonus encounter with them as well. Next up, let's talk about the wild spawns. It is, of course, the Sinnoh Tour. So that means it's going to be all the same Sinnoh Pokemon we see in the global event. However, it is different habitats, so they've divided up the Pokemon differently. You can see them all on screen now. But yeah, basically the same Sinnoh Pokemon, just divided up differently. Next up, we have the incense encounters, and that is going to be exactly the same as the global event. So using an incense during the event hours will draw in unknowns that could be shiny. Moving on to the eggs, those are going to be exactly the same. Absolutely zero changes to the eggs. So you can see them up here. 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and the regionals that are locked in the 10-kilometer eggs. There will also be other experiences in the venue for those who attend, so you get things like a lot of decor for the different habitats, photo opportunities with Pokemon, lounges that you can hang out in, opportunities to meet some notable trainers as they put it, and of course, merch. That's all the information we have about both of these events right now. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about my theory for Arceus and the other 2 mythicals? Are you excited for this tour? Do you need more information to make up your mind? I will bring you more updates as they are released, so subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want more Pokemon Go content right now, check out the video I picked for you on the left, or the one that YouTube thought you would like on the right, and we'll see you in the next one, friends.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. I've got something incredibly funky.